Well, going back to the memory lane, I was at a very young and tender age of 17 years when I came to this country. Now, why did I choose this country? Well, 15 years ago, there were not that many YouTube channels or not that many people living in Switzerland telling you how amazing it is or what to do and what not to do. But at that age, normally most of the people just follow whatever is in their mind, try to think that everything is going to be amazing and just follow without doing your proper research, at least at that time. Now, why I chose this country was pretty much there is not a proper reason, because I did not even knew anything about this country. One of my friend was coming here and I pretty much just followed him. It was as simple as that. I was not looking at videos how much you're going to earn. I was not looking at how best to get a passport or to just do a permanent residency here. I pretty much just followed because this was the only thing that came in my life. Now, since it was quite easy for me because there were not that many options which I had in mind, I never even thought about leaving India or leaving my home country. So it was a pretty straightforward road for me, which I just followed and I ended up being here. Now, I know most of you and most of the people who wish to come and work or live in Switzerland want to do it because they think you get a lot of salary. Especially on my research, when I saw there are a lot of videos telling you about how much you can earn, and that has quite a lot of views. Well, to give you a taste of what I experienced when I first came to this country was, well, I came here to do my hotel management, which I know a lot of you guys want to do or are thinking of doing it. That's why you find my videos. Also, lots of people write me on Instagram asking me about the hotel management and which one is good or not. I always say that never do it in Switzerland unless you are already a millionaire. Now, I did not knew this information before, so I just came here without knowing any of it, and I just left the hotel management in the first 2 years because I realized this is not something that can help you at all for your career or for your future. Now, when it comes to money, I still remember my first job was a part-time job where I had to go to the people house and deliver some kind of advertisement. It was on a winter, a very cold day, and I remember walking around 8 hours to 10 hours to deliver this advertisement on people's mail. And I was also scared because lots of the posts, the one that they have in front of their houses, it's written that they do not like it. I also do not like to receive so much advertisement, but that was my first job. I did that for 1 week. I received 100 francs per day to do that. It was quite a difficult job, at least for a 18 or a 17-year-old. But yeah, that was my first salary. So in a week I made around $500 of 500 Swiss francs after reducing the cost of food, etc. Yeah, was not that bad for my first job. So basically, with the hotel management, you study for first 6 months, and after first 6 months you go and do a job or a internship, which we call. In that internship, you earn around 2,000 to 2,200 francs every month. It might include an accommodation and food, it might not. Now, most of my friends, as you may know, were already Indians because there were quite a lot of Indians coming there to study hotel management. And for them, the easiest way was to get an internship in an Indian restaurant because they already had quite a lot of experience, most of them coming from Mumbai. For me, however, I have never worked in my life before and I had no experience, and I really did not want to work in an Indian restaurant because why the heck would I do that coming from a country called India? Therefore, I started to think that I would like to work somewhere else, and I started to send my application to Swiss restaurants or any foreign restaurants which would be different than an Indian restaurant. Now, to my surprise, I was selected as an applicant for a very posh restaurant in the canton of Zug, which, to be honest, I never thought I would be able to work there, but it was an experience of a lifetime. The only thing is, since you go and it is your first job and you have never worked anywhere else, they give you a salary which you can just laugh upon. So the first 6 months I had in my pocket 1,100 Swiss francs every month compared to 2,200 that I was expecting, which all of my other friends were making in an Indian restaurant. Now, of course, my friends made way more money than me, but you have to understand, if you are working in an Indian restaurant, you are working with your own guys and you do not have a set amount of time that you work, so you end up working 10, 12, 14 hours depending on the season. For me, as a student who really wanted to learn, and I was working in a Swiss restaurant where they were very strict about the timing, I was working at max 6 hours to 7 hours every day, which was not, mostly you have to work around 8 to 9 hours, but my hours were adjusted based on when there was a lot of work, when there was none. But for the amount of money that I earned, the most that I learned was the language and really how to be a good service guy in a restaurant. Now, as you can imagine, the money was nothing. 1100 Swiss franc is not much. Of course, my food and my accommodation was covered. However, if you may know, a Swiss hotel management course requires you a minimum 15 to 10,000 Swiss francs every 6 months. So after your internship, you have to pay that much money. But since I was earning just 1,000 Swiss franc every month, I was not even able to get 6,000 or 7,000 francs after my 6 month of internship. Now, to come to Switzerland, I did took a education loan, which was at that time was around 7 to 8 lakhs, which I was still not able to pay back after 1 year living in Switzerland. Now, when I finished my internship, I had to go back to my school and to pay them 10,000 Swiss francs to continue my studies, as I had just 6,000 Swiss francs, which I saved throughout my internship. At the end of the day, I could pay them only that much amount, and then I told them I will pay them rest of it once I have my second internship. So they were nice enough to accept that part. Now, a job in Switzerland or a simple job around this country, maybe as a waiter in a very nice restaurant outside Zurich, you can end up earning around 4,300 Swiss francs, which sounds a lot, but when you reduce everything that you have to pay, including tax, your living expenses, you would not be saving that much amount of money. And remember, Switzerland is very, very expensive if you live here. Now, keeping this in mind, I realized in these first 1 or 2 years that this is not what I expect for me in my future. So I started to look at what other options I had, and the one other option that I thought about was to go back to a university to study the courses that I would be interested in. Now, just by luck or just by destiny, I was accepted in University of Bern for Bachelor's of Banking and Finance. It was quite a move because I did not expect it, first of all, to be accepted in a university, and second of all, the entire system changes once you are in a university. You can therefore start working as a part-time student around 15 hours per week, and you can work full-time during your summer holidays. So the second year, I pretty much finished my first 6 months of studies. Then I went and finished my internship, where I earned some money, which was a little bit higher this time, around 1,900 Swiss francs, because I had a bit of more experience and I could take care of the restaurant by myself. With that money, I paid a bit of it back to my school, and rest of it I kept it with me, because then I was getting ready to shift to Canton of Bern to start my university studies in University of Bern. Now, I would say that was one of the best decisions that I might have taken in my life, because really studying is what will make you or break you. Now, I never say that I was at top of my class. I have always been an average student, and I really liked my first year in the university. On the second hand, I could also work a little bit on the sideline, since I had an experience already working in 2 restaurants, and in a very nice restaurants, I could get a job quite easily. Remember, if you are coming here as a student first 6 months, you cannot work, and also without language, it makes it very, very difficult for you to get a job or a part-time job, especially if you are living outside the canton of Zurich. Now, when I got my first proper part-time job, I was paid 18 francs every hour, which was not that bad. At the end of the month, I was able to earn kind of same 1200 Swiss francs. Now this 1200 Swiss francs was my fixed salary, and with tips, because I was working in the service industry and in a restaurant, I was able to make maybe 13 to 1400 Swiss francs every month, which is not that bad if you're living in Bern, because it is a bit cheaper than Zurich. Now my course was around for 3 years, but unfortunately due to several other reasons, I was able to finish my bachelor course in 4 years, which took quite a while. Now, of course, during that time, I was working only as a part-time student, so I was earning not more than 1400 francs every month. But also during summer holidays, I could work full-time, so I was about to get around 4,000 to 3,800 Swiss francs for 1 month in a year. So my yearly income did end up coming to around 16 to 18,000 Swiss francs. The only best part was this, that for the university you do not have to pay quite a lot of tuition fees like you do in some other countries. In Switzerland it is subsidized, so I had to pay just 1,000 Swiss francs for every 6 months and a couple of expenses here and there, which was never more than maybe 3,000 Swiss francs every year for my university. So at the end of the day, because of that, I could really live nicely. I was of course living with some of my other friends, so the apartment was shared, and then afterwards I was living with my girlfriend as well, so that really helped. But at the end of the day, it was not too much amount of money that I was saving. However, I started to send some money back home because I had to reduce my education loan, which has been increased about 2 to 3 lakh, because I was not able to pay anything for the first 1 to 2 years. Now at the end of 4 years, when I did receive my degree, I did reduce my education loan to an extent which was manageable. Also remember, my grandfather paid quite a lot of money for that loan account, so therefore I could breathe a little bit, otherwise the education loan would have been too much. So to clarify, I was not able to send enough money back home to cover my education loan, and that you should think about it as well before you are coming to Switzerland thinking that you will make quite a lot of money, which you do not as a student. Now, once I received my degree, I was ready with my degree, and as a university graduate, I had a confidence and I started to send out applications. Now, because of my previous past experience, I did have quite a lot of experience working here and there in Switzerland, which really helped me because I also live in different parts of the country. I was therefore able to secure an internship in one of the big telecom company in Switzerland. So my first internship was in marketing and in operations department. Now just to clarify, back then the rules were a bit different and now it has tightened quite a lot. Therefore, you may find it way more difficult to settle after completing your studies, especially in general studies such as in business, administration, etc. If you want to come to Switzerland, I would really say go for STEM related courses and the top universities only. Otherwise, there are several other countries which would be better suited for you in case you want to settle down there. For my first internship, surprisingly, Switzerland pays quite a good salary. So my first internship, I was receiving 3,000 Swiss franc for a full-time job for the first 6 months. Now, started to work in an office was a totally different experience, and of course, getting 3,000 Swiss francs, which was not in hand, of course, you have to reduce some stuff here and there. I was able to save around 2,300 Swiss francs at the end of the month. I wouldn't say save, but I had that much amount in my hand. After reducing your living expenses here and there, I was able to finish my education loan back home at last after 6 years of taking it. So it took me quite a long time and the help of my family to be able to finish just the education loan. After the first 6 months, it was increased to another 6 months, so I ended up working there for 12 months for just 3,000 Swiss francs, which was okay because I was getting some experience. After I completed my internship, I had quite a lot of experience, and that helped me to get my first job where I was getting 5,500 Swiss francs every month. Now, Switzerland is known for its very high salary, but if you want to go there, the best profession to make like really good money would be engineering or anything to do with AI or being an amazing software engineer. Now, these are the professions that are pretty much making bulk of money here in Switzerland, but I think that is pretty much the case in every other country as well. I mean, if you will go to a US, a very well experienced software engineer would be making somewhere north of 400,000 US dollar every year, or even more in some big companies. So therefore, the best profession here, as I said, were these two. Apart from that, also there are people making a lot of money in banking, but these are the guys who has been there forever and in a very good position. So as an average person, as an average graduate, you do earn quite a good money, which looks quite good outside. However, when you end up living in Switzerland, it is not that much of a money, especially since the inflation has been going on since past couple of years, which has really increased the prices of some of the groceries and also especially the rent around Switzerland. On average, the salary in Switzerland is around 6,200 Swiss francs. For my first job, I was able to get 5,500 Swiss francs, which was outside Zurich, so it was not that bad as a first job. So it was a starting, which I would say most of the graduates would be earning at the end of the day. And then of course, after you get a bit more experience, or if you stay in the same company or you jump around, you can then expect to increase your salaries a bit higher. For a person in his mid-30s, I would expect someone with a graduation in a proper field around 100,000 Swiss francs every year would not be bad. And then of course it increases as you grow old. However, just remember, this salary is enough for you to support yourself if you're a single person, as a family, if you have kids, and if your wife or your husband is not working, then of course it gets more and more difficult. And especially if you're from outside and if your kids are here and there are no grandparents or any family to support, you really have to take care of your kids by yourself, which quickly gets very expensive since one of the person has to stay home. In certain parts of the country, such as in Zurich and Geneva, just the rent costs around 2,000 to 3,000 Swiss francs for a family, which can be quite a lot. So these were the most difficult times in my life, especially when it comes to money. I was not traveling that much and I had quite a lot of other things going on. Therefore, it was not that easy. But once I started to have a proper job, then I could say that I was in a way better position. However, now after 15 years of working in Switzerland, I have a very average salary, let's just say, and which allows me as a single person to do pretty much what I want to do, travel around the world to be able to save for my old age, and if I have a family one day, would be able to support them as well. So this was the video around how much money I had made in Switzerland living here since past 15 years, and the answer to that is not much. But of course, if you're from a industry which is very well paid and you are top of your class, which would be the case pretty much in every country, you would make quite a lot of money. However, being average in Switzerland, especially if you're not from Europe, would not help you a lot, and I would suggest then to see other options that might be available out there where you can at least have a chance to stay after finishing your studies or after finishing your contract work. Hey, so this was the video. Let me know how it was and if it helped you to decide whether to come to Switzerland or not. If you have any other questions, you can write it on the comment section, or you can reach out to me via Instagram, the detail of which is on the detail section of this video. Thank you and have a great day.